welcome back. It's Janelle from Infinite Potential Healing, and I am coming at you with the astrology for July 6th through the 12th of 2026. So real quick, we're going to rewind and check in on a couple of transits that happened in the past 48 hours before we got to July 6th that are kind of heavy hitters, so we just want to really make sure that we are paying the right amount of emphasis to them. So on July 4th, which is a big deal holiday in the United States, as we all know, we had Mars conjunct Uranus and Gemini, meaning that Mars was parked at the exact same degree as Uranus. So anytime we have Mars and Uranus hooking up, and anytime we have Uranus at play in general, it's definitely an energy of expect the unexpected. You know, with Mars, he is all about our vitality, our stamina, our health to some extent, as well as, you know, how we handle and manage conflict in our lives. And on and around July 4th and kind of leading up to that 4th of July holiday, we definitely had some Mars conjunct Uranus noteworthy conflicts at play. So that energy, you know, doesn't just kind of dissipate magically overnight. So even if you're watching this on the 6th, that's still at play a little bit, that energy of expect the unexpected. And throughout the month of July, we actually have a couple of different Uranus transits at play. So that really kind of gives us extra energy, extraordinary energy, if you will, to expect the unexpected. And so I definitely wanted to kind of hit back on that transit. And then on the 5th, we had Mars in Gemini making a sextile to Neptune in Aries. And we also had Mars in Gemini making a trine to Pluto in Aquarius. So what does that all mean? So, you know, Mars in Gemini is all about, you know, Mars again is our stamina, our drive, our passion, our health to a lesser extent. You know, our ambition, how we handle and manage conflicts. And in Gemini, which is a dual air sign, you know, we may be feeling a little bit of a feast or famine in those energies. We may be feeling, you know, there might be a lot of cerebral energy, and we might be thinking extra hard about potentially doing some of those things to support our drive, our ambition, our stamina. But then on the other hand, we may not have the, you know, proverbial impetus to put our money where our mouths is. So when, you know, Mars in Gemini makes that sextile to Neptune in Aries, you know, Neptune is all about our dreams, our creativity. It's got that otherworldly quality to it, and Aries is ruled by Mars. So now we might have, you know, we might have gone into this period of feeling like we've got this impetus, this drive, this desire to kind of get into some of those otherworldly things. And, you know, maybe we even were inspired to meditate if we decided to use this transit in a very positive and beneficial way to help us connect to otherworldly things. Mars and Gemini making that cooperative 120 degree trine to Pluto in Aquarius really gives us that impetus for transformation. Anytime Pluto is at play, we've got two things that are going on. Pluto is all about transformation, but it's transformation that comes through proverbial death and rebirth. So, you know, Mars and Gemini is saying, how do we transform our stamina? How do we transform our drive, our ambition, our passion, our health? How do we transform how we handle and manage conflict in our lives? And we may find ourselves thinking two ways about that. The other way that Pluto usually shows up for us, unfortunately, is that, you know, him being the lord of the underworld, Pluto can be kind of a pessimistic dude. So, you know, sometimes he has us wearing shit-colored glasses instead of rose-colored glasses, which can really skew our outlook and cause us to be very pessimistic about any potential that we may have with transformation. But on the 5th, it was very much this energy of we'll enjoy doing what we love. So you really want to make sure that, you know, yesterday and today, you are giving yourself, you're treating yourself really some extra time, some extra energy, some extra space, some extra opportunity to really put some extra focus there so that you can focus on doing what you love. Because Mars and Gemini trine Pluto in Aquarius and Mars and Gemini sextile Neptune in Aries, it's the idea of, you know, doing what you love, but grounding and rooting that into the tangible. So kind of making your dreams reality a little bit. And if you are making big changes, or you find yourself drawn to making big changes or desiring to make big changes on the 5th, and of course moving forward, those changes will usually go very well for you, should go very well for you, as long as you've laid the groundwork and, you know, really kind of organized your potential for success. If you have not laid that groundwork and you just kind of willy-nilly woke up on the 5th and decided that you were going to have this great big transformation, the energies at play might ask you to solidify that idea a little bit. So all is not lost, and you can still utilize the energy of these transits as we move forward. So then on the 6th, we have the Sun in Cancer making a square to Saturn in Aries. So this particular transit really benefits making plans for yourself and those that you love, but you really want to avoid those restrictive, harsh, all or nothing kind of boundaries. And that's really with every relationship that you have in general. It is not the time for all or nothing, when the Sun is squaring Saturn. So if you feel trapped by this energy in any way, on the 6th or thereafter, you really want, if you feel stuck in any way, shape, or form, you really want to make sure that you can literally get some air. And I don't mean that proverbially, I mean literally go outside and seek to get some air. And, see what doors you can open, see where you can lessen those pressure valves so that they're not about to pop and you don't feel quite so restricted. On the 7th, we have a really kind of big deal transit that I have not heard get much lip service or much airtime. We have Neptune stationing retrograde in Aries, and it will be retrograde in Aries from July 7th, 2026, all the way through December 12th of 2026. So Neptune is all about our dreams, our creativity. Neptune rules the seas, so Neptune can cause things to feel like or to seem like they are a little bit underwater. But when Neptune stations retrograde and when Neptune retrogrades, it really strips away illusion. So if this particular retrograde, especially this year with all of these other transits at play, had any particular theme song, it would be the theme song of I Can See Clearly Now, the Rain Is Gone. Because we will have clarity, we will be able to gain clarity for these 5 months-ish that Neptune is stationed retrograde and transiting retrograde in Aries. So it's actually going to bring some much needed clarity. Now, of course, the caveat there is that Mercury is still fucking retrograde in Cancer, which is, creating its own challenges as we do our inner review work about all of our super fun emotional stuff. So it'll actually be closer to when Mercury stations direct and then we come off of that retrograde shadow, that clarity from the Neptune retrograde will really start to set in. So that'll be a really great time to look forward to. Then on the 9th, so on July 9th, Venus moves into Virgo. So this is really going to be a lovely time period, just a lovely few weeks to really attend to any practicalities, any priorities, anything having to do with organization, gardening, cleaning, even your kind of day-to-day mundane chores. I'm just going to redo it because my face is itching and I don't know what the fuck. Every time I come up here, my face itches.
You're good.
Okay. Oh my God. Then on July 9th, we have Venus moving into Virgo. So this is going to be a really nice time period, a really lovely couple of weeks to attend to kind of all of our practicalities. That can include money management, it can include gardening, even those kind of, day-to-day, more mundane chores just aren't going to feel so mundane. And it'll give us, good motivation, good impetus to want to clean, to want to attend to, our home and to our gardens, both literally and proverbially. And this can also be a really good time if you happen to need a boost for your health, for your vitality, to really take some solid action steps to ensure that you do get that boost. I'm gonna have to pause it again. I can't fucking read this.
That's fine. Take your time.
Virgo is an energy that really softens, and Venus in Virgo, especially Venus in Virgo during Cancer season, really gives us, I can't fucking read this. Virgo energy softens, and Venus in Virgo, especially during Cancer season, and even more so when Mercury is also retrograde in Cancer, really creates beauty, ease, and flow, especially on the home front. So that is the energy, those are the energies that we get to enjoy and we get to step into once Venus shifts into Virgo for the next coming weeks. Then on the 10th, we have Venus making a conjunction to the South Node in Virgo. We have, okay, you're gonna have to pause it. I can't fucking read this. This has to now go up. Then on the 10th, we have Venus again in Virgo making that conjunction, meaning it's at that exact degree to the South Node of the Moon, which is also in Virgo. And then we have Venus in Virgo making a cooperative trine to Chiron, our wounded healer in Taurus. And we have Chiron, our wounded healer in Taurus, making a sextile to the North Node of the Moon in Pisces. So real quick note that the South Node of the Moon and the North Node of the Moon, which are always at exact opposition of each other, are not actual planetary bodies, but they are points on the Moon. So we can talk about that in greater depth in another video. But on this particular day, when we have kind of all of these transits going on with the nodes of the Moon and Venus and Chiron, you can possibly expect to reconnect with someone that you love. This wouldn't be someone that you love that there is so much baggage to unpack or anything like that. This would be something that, you know, your heart just feels better, lighter, more karmically aligned. It doesn't feel like any time has passed. And if you are seeking that dynamic with someone, it is a really good day to reach out and make that connection, because those energies will help to push the dynamic forward. With Chiron at play in some, you know, with these energies, there's also a very therapeutic quality to the overall energy that we have at play. So again, if you require some sort of additional healing, some sort of boost to your health, if that has been of a concern for you, it is definitely a day that you want to go ahead and take some initiative there. You know, especially if there are, you know, health things that have been challenges. And whatever you do on the 10th, avoid resuming any bad habits, even if you're tempted. And P.S., you're likely to be tempted. Power through it. It is not the time to pick those things back up. You will not be happy with yourself in the long run if you do. So there's your caveat for the 10th. And then finally, on the 12th, we have Venus making a semi-sextile to Jupiter in Leo, and we have the Moon hightailing it on into Cancer. So this is a really good day for get-togethers. It's a really good day for financial organization, you know, for really kind of organizing your finances. And it is likely on this day that you will enjoy the arts, artistic things, music, short trips, romance. And if you don't necessarily have a significant other in your life, it's a great day to romance the shit out of yourself. So that's what's going on this week. We kind of have some big stuff hopping and popping in the cosmos. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of guidance so that you know how to best utilize and work with these transits. So enjoy this week, and I will see you on the other side.